we go. Hello, everybody. Thank you again for watching or telling. Take two. Hello, everybody. Thank you for watching the podcast. Tell me your story. This is your host, Chris Baker, and today's guest to tell her story is Andrea Boyd. Give her a round of applause. Yeah! Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
So we're gonna do like
Excited
how
to
we
be
always
here.
do. Yes. Thank you, and it is an honor. Thank you for accepting my invitation to come on and tell your story. But let's jump right into this. Let's begin. Let's go with your childhood. Where does it all start for you? Where does the roots take place?
My roots take place in well, we moved around quite a bit as a child when I was a child. I'm the oldest of four children that my mom has. I was always mother hen. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, off of 119th and Kinsman.
Okay.
In the Mount Pleasant area is where I grew up.
So it was a decent area. It wasn't like how most people say they live in the projects. It's craziness.
No, I mean it was not a decent area. It was good for us. So my grandparents actually owned the house that we lived in, that we grew up in.
Okay.
And then my mom, she actually got divorced. I think I was I don't remember my age. I was young. And then she moved us to another home that my grandparents had owned in Shaker. So yeah, and there we went to school from there. From I think I got to Shaker in middle school around seventh grade. While my siblings are younger than me, so they actually went through elementary school there.
Describe what your childhood was like. Did you have technology, or was this before the age of technology?
Oh, this is before. I mean, we had technology. I mean, I'm not like a baby boomer now. Come on now.
Okay.
I'm 43 years old. So
What?
yes, I'm 43. So what we deem as technology back then was like a pager. Everyone had pagers, and there wasn't we had cell phones, but we had flip phones. They didn't do all the things they do today. Um, so, we had pay phones at every mall. We would call our parents from the
wait.
pay phones.
What is a payphone? Does anybody know what a payphone is anymore?
Oh, you better know what a pay
Does
phone
that still exist?
Probably not. It's like a dinosaur right now. But we definitely had pay phones at all the malls. We would go and have fun, and then call our parents to pick us up afterward. But yeah, it was fun. I really did have a good childhood. I really did. And I enjoyed it immensely. I just wish that a lot of the things that I learned about finance, I would have learned a little bit sooner.
I mean, don't we all feel that way, though? I wish somebody would
Yeah,
have
we
taught me when I
do.
was younger, like in high school or something.
Yes. I think it would have made things a lot easier. Knowing certain things right off the bat, knowing that you need to plan for certain things, and have that reserve capital um, for things that may go awry in your life. So I think that it's important to then go forward and teach those things.
Yeah. Well, talk about your schooling experience. Since they didn't teach you financial stuff, what were they teaching you?
No. Oh man. Oh, back in, let me see. And to this day, I still write in cursive. Like
What?
I write in cursive, and we learned that. We learned. So I had home ec. We would bake. And in middle school, we had home ec. We would learn. We learned how to write in cursive. That was one of the many things that we were taught. We also learned um, we had a typing class. So
Yep,
we
I
learned
remember
how to
those.
type on the computer. So all of those are very, very good skills to learn.
Hmm.
Um, Today, I think a lot of today's youth could actually utilize some of those skills.
I think, well, when I was coming up in like, I think it was junior high, that's when they started, we were like required to take a computer class. We had to take a computer class.
Hmm. Yes,
And
I
I
was the
imagine
same way.
nowadays it's just normal anymore because
Right,
technology is
right.
so advanced, you know?
Absolutely advanced and ever changing with each year. I mean, we get an iPhone how many times
Yeah,
within a
yes.
2 year span? I mean, they come out at really, really quickly, and it ever evolves. So you need to be ready and um and be ready. So, yeah,
But think about that. Think about it for a moment. We were just talking about, know, phone booths, and now you're talking about our first phones were what, flip phones? And I think
yes,
now it's like the iPhone itself and the Galaxies are up to what, 15? And it's like you said, every
yeah,
year we have a
yeah.
new phone. Changes a little bit, but it's still the same.
It's
But it's getting to that
amazing.
point where
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's so funny because I can remember when I bought like a iPhone like 6 or something, and now it's like all the way to 15, and I'm like, how did we even get here? How do
wait,
we get to a 15?
do you still have the iPhone 15? I mean the 6.
Oh, oh, it's probably here in my house somewhere. It's probably here in my house somewhere in a drawer, stuck in a drawer.
So what was your first phone? You know,
My
was
first
it a flip phone?
phone? Ooh, I want to say it was like something like a Motorola, or I don't know. I want to say it was like a Motorola or something similar to that.
I think that was mine
Was
too.
Yeah, it was like your first little flip phone that you had. I
The
had a
phone
great
was
flip phone, and the coolest thing we used to do is like we used to put the numbers in, like, and then try to play around with the numbers so that they spell different things.
oh yeah.
Like you can do hello, you can do
Remember doing
different
that learning
things.
text?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and now it's like, oh my gosh, they got gifs and emojis, and you can stick people's whole faces in, and you can do little.
Yeah.
It's just all kind of stuff. Like now, it's like, what were you guys doing that for?
And for the
But
viewer, for the younger audience, I want to cut in here real quick so you guys better understand. As texting wasn't like how it is now, where you can just punch in a
no,
bunch of letters and it'll just come up. You actually had to click one or two or three and make sure it came up. You had to press like one a few times to get to A, B, or C. That way you could
oh
text
yeah,
it. It wasn't
oh
like
it
how
was
it
a
is right
lot. Yeah, we did a lot. I mean, we really did with our phone. It
now. It's
was
like,
a
oh,
lot to call someone. It was a lot to call someone. I mean, my husband and I, we tend to look at videos a lot that someone will give their kid a rotary phone and they'll say use it, and then they're just looking at the phone like, how do
what
we
is
use it?
this dinosaur
And we
looking thing?
we sit and laugh, and we're like, oh man, this is so funny.
All right, enough with the phone talk. Let's get back
Yeah.
into your story.
Uh-huh.
So back into your story, tell me a little bit how your high school experience was. Did you play sports? Were you the popular kid?
Um,
What was going on?
no, I really didn't. I was kind of like in the middle. I was kind of a very chill type of student. I was kind of a bookworm,
Okay,
to
yeah.
tell the truth. I kind of stayed to myself. I like to read. Um, I did hair. So straight out of high school, I did a manicurist license. Um, so that I did a trade straight out of high school. I didn't go to college right after, which I think a lot of people need to think about
Hmm.
actually doing that if that's something that they're interested in and they know that they don't want to do college per se, the traditional
Yeah,
way of going to college. Yeah.
kind of get a feel for what you want to do. Man, I wish I would have knew you
Yeah.
back in the day. You could have did my hair. Could have fixed
Right,
me up.
right. I would do hair, I would do nails. That was just my thing. I was good with my hands. So I would do people's hair and people's nails, and that just I was like, oh, I'm not going to college. I'm gonna go to cosmetology school. That's what I'm gonna do. And I end up doing that straight
Yeah.
out of high school,
So
and it
how
was
long did you
good.
end up doing it for? Did you like hold on,
Oh,
wait. Did you start with your friends first or how did it go?
oh, absolutely. I mean, your friends is the first place you always start.
Of
you
course, of
you
course.
you kind of play around with them until you get it right, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I started with my friends straight out of high school. I went, so my aunt owned a shop, which she still owns to this day on 116th and Buckeye, and
Okay.
it's named Christie's.
Christy.
And she, yeah, and she,
Let me write this down.
yeah, she owned a shop, and she's been there for years, like 40, 50 years since I was little. So I know over 40 years because I'm 43. But I grew up in that salon. And I grew up watching her do hair. And I would come in and I would sometimes shampoo people for her.
Ooh,
I would kind of sweep up for her and just do little things. I kind of just stayed at the shop. So that was my first glimpse into that beauty industry. And I was just like, oh, my aunt is really making money. Like she's killing it. She has
mhm.
beauticians working for her. She has her clientele, it's established. And I grew up seeing that. And she always drove a Cadillac. That was just her thing.
Big old
She
boat.
always had yeah, she always had Cadillac. She had always had nice cars. So that was my first glimpse into that. And I was like, oh man, she's really doing well for herself. This is something to really look into. Um, since that's something that I was really interested in. I really had a passion for it. Cause I mean, I used to do my hair all the time, like all day long, nonstop. I would do my hair all day. I would come home from school, do my hair, do a friend's hair. We would just sit doing our hair and nails. It was just something we did. So I just really thought, like, okay, well, this could be a career. Like I could really, be making money off of this. So I need to go to school. So after high school, I went to the Cut
Look,
beauty school. Yeah. So the Cut used to have a salon right across from Cleveland Heights High School. They had a school there that closed down, but they also had one on Invermere in East Cleveland. I
okay.
went to the one on Invermere. And that was it was just perfect for me. I went through, I did, my classes. I went to Columbus. I passed, I got my licensure, and it was history after that. I went up to my aunt's shop and start working immediately. Um, and made pretty good, decent money. I made some good money when I was doing nails. I did nails for maybe, I want to say maybe 12 years
Dang.
until, yeah, I did it for a very long time. Till my mid 20, till my mid, I did, let me see, from 18 to, I think I was 20, in my 20s, or in my 30s. Um, and then I got carpal tunnel. I got carpal tunnel in my hands. And that kind of slowed me down from doing nails. Um, and I couldn't do them the way I wanted to. Uh, my doctor was like, "Oh, you need to take a break. You can't be, fouling like that with your hands so much." Um, so that became an automatic issue. And after that, my husband and I, we then moved. We moved to Nevada.
Oh,
Yeah, we moved to Nevada, to Henderson, Nevada, and we lived in Vegas for 4 to 5 years.
wait. Time out. What, what, wait.
Yeah.
So you went for okay. I want to just kind of jump back a little bit.
Yes.
So you say you grew up and you went into the shop that you said it was grandma or your aunt?
My aunt, yes.
Your
My
aunt.
my dad's sister.
So your aunt had this shop, and then once you graduated and went and started working for her, how did that feel?
Yeah.
Was it like a surreal feeling, or what was going on
It was just nice. It was really nice. It was kind of surreal that I was actually doing what I had been looking at. Like that's always surreal. As like an 18-year-old to come out, you have somewhere to go, you have a career, and it's like all ready to go in front of you. There's not many people even that at that age that can come out and say, I know I have a place, I have a spot that's ready for me. Because even when I was in school, when I was in cosmetology school, um, they were like, "Oh, we don't know where certain girls were like, we don't know where we're gonna go. Where are you going?" And so you would kind of just fill out like where everybody was going. They're like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna go here. I think I'm gonna go there. I'm not sure." But I had it. Like I knew exactly where I was going. I had a whole side. Like my aunt, she owns a two-side building. So I had the whole side, the whole one side to myself, and then there were beauticians on the other side. So it was really, really cool to just be able to have that and for her to actually support me in that way.
there? And I mean, just thinking about it too is like, I know how nervous it could be for most people when they graduate and they're moving into that field that they've been studying.
Yes.
And once it's time to get in there, but you had it made because you were like, I grew up in this. I'm surrounded by this.
Yeah,
And then on
I
top of
knew
that, you're
it.
working with family.
Absolutely, absolutely. I knew it. It came very natural. I wasn't kind of nervous about doing it because I had been up there so long. I hadn't did any nails or any hair or anything like that, but I had been in the environment for so long. I felt so comfortable. And it was just an easy acclimation into the beauty industry at that point.
Okay. What was the most memorable thing during your time in there?
Just you know what, to this day, I still meet people that I used to do their nails, and they'll say, "Oh, I saw your daughter on Facebook," or, "You posted a picture and I saw it." And they're just like, "Oh man, I remember when she used to be at the shop. I remember when they're referring to my son. I remember when he used to be at the shop with you." And I'm just like, yeah, like it's just the people. The most memorable
Oh yeah.
moments are those moments that you share with people that you definitely remember. Like I had a young lady and her mom passed, and I used to do her mom's nails. And I just told her, I said, "You know what? I have so many lovely, lovely memories of your mom, like just coming up here and I'm doing her nails and we laughing and we joking and, we just having a good time." And that's what it's all about. It's about, providing a service, but also really having that conversation with your client and getting to know them,
Yeah.
and being that person. And then at times you'll see that some of them come up and they don't even need their nails done. They'll just come sit with you.
Yeah. That's that
So it
relationship
becomes,
you build.
yeah, it becomes a relationship based type of servicing at that point,
I
where
think
it's
that's
more than just a client, it's a family member.
when I think about just like, certain jobs that you work, that's how beautiful it is. I mean, a lot of people probably don't think about it
Hmm.
until it's too late. But those
Yes,
friendships that you make, the relationships just all together. And then when you move on from that career, you move on to your next calling. It's like
absolutely.
then people always come back to you later down the line. They're like, "Hey, I remember when you used to do my hair, you used to do my nails."
Yes, yes. So it definitely it's rewarding. It's definitely rewarding. So I appreciate that.
How many people still reach out to you trying to get their hair done, nails done?
Oh yeah, none. It's been so long, like since I've actually it's been over 10 years. So no one really reaches out anymore. They all know that I don't do nails. I haven't did nails in a very long time. My license is in escrow. So I it's just sitting there.
Okay, well, I got your number now, so I'm gonna start calling them.
Right.
Like, come comb my hair for me, do my
Uh,
hair.
it's a wrap. I can't even help you.
So, 12 years, the doctor tells you no more. How you feeling in
Hmm.
that moment?
I'm kind of feeling good at that moment because my wrists were hurting
Yeah, I bet.
at that point, and I really wanted to, at that point, mm, um, I was looking for something different. At that point, I was itching for something different, for a different type of career. So, a career path. I just didn't know what it was that I wanted to do. I knew that you know your skills, right? You know your core competencies, but when they all revolve around a trade, that's kind of difficult. That's when it gets a little difficult, when they all revolve around something that you are doing from day to day, that is trade related. So you have to try to figure out what other type of skills that kind of build off of that trade that you can use to that are transferable. So I know I had great customer service. I know I had great relationship building skills. I had budgeting skills because and organizational skills, because you have to organize your clients. You can't be late for them. You have to budget, because you get paid and that's it. It's not like you have a job where you're paid every single day at the same time. It wasn't like that. I had to definitely budget in a certain type of way to last me through the month, from month to month. So I knew I had those type of skills. So it was just trying to figure out how I was going to equate that to something different.
So you had it all mastered out. You was ready to make that next move into your next step of your career. And then
Yeah.
did you move to Nevada right away, or what was going on?
I moved to Nevada. It wasn't, I moved to Nevada maybe soon after that. I was in Nevada. My husband and I had moved there. It was great. I enjoyed it. We were in our 20s. So, I mean, Nevada in your 20s is kind of like, and I mean, this was early like 90s. So, or early 2000s, should I say? Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. So it was kind of like, okay, we're in Nevada, we're young, we can party. I mean, that's what we did. We partied. We had a great time. I mean, we lived our best life in Nevada. We did. And we didn't have kids yet. We kind of just really, really enjoyed ourselves. Um, so we we did that. We moved. Okay, so then we started a family in Nevada.
Okay.
So I got pregnant with my son while we were in Nevada. My husband and I were actually due to be married, and I got pregnant.
Oh.
I was like, okay, we're supposed to get married in like September, and I was due in September. So I was like, we got to move this wedding up because I'm not about to be 9 months pregnant when we get married. So we moved it up, and we got married in March. So we got married, and then I think we left Nevada the following year. My son was 1 when we moved back to Cleveland.
Were you guys just like, okay, it's time to get serious, party time's over, no more gambling, no more?
Oh yeah, it was that time. Like we had really partied for like a whole 4 years. Like it was great. Like we really, when I tell people who are younger, like enjoy your life while you have no kids, like go travel, go see other cities, like enjoy yourself. Like that was nice to be able to live in a different city for a whole 4 years. It was just great, 4.5 years we lived there. So it was just wonderful to be able to have that time to where we got to know each other, and we also had a ball, just had a ball. So we got married, had a kid.
Wait. Come on, it's Vegas. Share one story.
I'm trying to think. Like it's very vague. Like a lot of my clubbing days, I can't even remember. Like I literally cannot remember. Like I remember. Okay, the one thing I can remember is we went out a few times, and we will literally go in, and it'll be like 10 o'clock, and we'll come out, and the sun will be up. We'll have our sunglasses on, like, oh my gosh, it's so bright. It'll be hot. it'll be like 80 degrees outside, and we're just like, where is the breakfast spot? So we would go to Blueberry Hill. There was like this restaurant called Blueberry Hill. We would go there. We would go there and we would eat breakfast. So
Oh,
that was pretty cool. But I mean, we would close it down and the sun would be up, and then we would just be sitting inside of a breakfast spot, just looking at each other like, I'm so tired.
what happened to
Like,
us last night?
right, like, why do we do this? But I mean, that's something you can do when you're younger that I would not recommend doing when you definitely are older.
Yeah.
That's definitely something you do when you're younger.
I don't know. I mean, I think you still got it in you. You still could do it.
Oh no! Oh, I absolutely could not do it.
Or one of
Not
them
right
all-nighters.
now. It wouldn't happen. It definitely wouldn't happen.
Show up to the Blueberry Hill. Like, what's
Mm-mm.
up, everybody? Y'all miss me? So once the party was over, you guys came back home to where it all started for you, Cleveland, Ohio.
Right. Yeah, we came back with a child. It was exciting. Our parents were very excited to meet grandkids and stuff like that. So it was fun.
So welcome back to Cleveland.
Right.
I mean, that really had to have been like an adjustment because, like you said, you were living out in the Vegas, the Strip, being out there, and then coming back to reality now because now you're parents. And how was that adjustment for you guys?
The adjustment was cool. It was real cool. Um, we were ready. At that point, we were ready. We had partied. We had done some of everything. We had got married. We were kind of ready to kind of settle down and kind of start our life together. So it was pretty cool to be able to do that.
So what was the next move for you guys?
Um, my husband, well, I'm trying to think. What did we do? Oh, I went back to the shop. I went back to to working at the shop because as soon as we came back, I did that for maybe a year, and then I went back to school.
Okay.
Yeah, I went back to school and I got my bachelor's degree and I got a master's degree.
Dang.
Yeah, so I went back and got busy.
So what did you get your master's in?
I got my master's in business administration, so I have an MBA.
Okay, you weren't playing around this time. You're like,
Oh
not
no.
doing no more hair, no more nails. It's time to get
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah, it was time. It was time to get serious. So we had a family. So at that point, I was like, okay, what do I feel like I want to do with that?
Well, you
So
said working there that helped you develop those skills. So I could imagine that
yeah,
you were ready to go.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I loved it. I loved doing that type of stuff. So I ended up being a consultant. So I do business advising currently. So, and I love it. I love working with my clients.
So once you got your master's, what was your first job? Where did you land at?
I landed at the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. Is where I
Okay.
landed. Mm-hmm.
And what
Yep.
was
So I
that like?
did that. It was good. It was good. I learned a lot. Um, and it's kind of set me up for my next for where I will work next,
Okay.
which is where I currently am.
Where'd you end up next?
At Greater Cleveland Partnership.
Greater Cleveland
So
Partnership.
yes, at the Greater Cleveland Partnership. So I currently work for the Ohio Minority Business Development Agency. It's a division of the U.S. Department of Commerce. So we consult businesses and to scale and grow them. So I sit on the equity and inclusion team at GCP, but I also have a nonprofit that I do some youth entrepreneurship with the youth around its community wealth partners. Hmm.
So you're making moves over there, I see.
Yeah, definitely. Getting to it, growing, and helping people. That's what it's all about.
Okay. So I got some questions for you. Your
Uh-huh.
journey from earning the MBA in Community Economic Development to your current role as President CEO at the Community Wealth Partners is quite remarkable. Can you share the key milestones and experiences that have shaped your path?
Um, I think it was just me going back to school, my decision to actually go back and and go into debt. That was the key. That was it. I just saw when you think about the life that you want to live and you compare it to where you currently are, there's a decision that you have to make there. And you have to make it, you have to be very intentional um with the plans that you put in place for yourself. So I was like, okay, well, I want this type of lifestyle, I want to be able to make this type of money, what will get me there, and then still do something that is within my passion. I like to help people. I like um to talk to them about their business. I love numbers. Um and so it just, it made sense for me to go kind of into consulting. That
Okay.
kind of made sense.
Now tell about like just how the adjustment from being, like you said, working with hair, nails, and then all of a sudden you're working in business, you're working around the numbers, you're hearing about people's projects and their plans. How was that adjustment for you?
Well, it's not really a big adjustment because what do you do at the nail salon?
Yeah, you talking to people. Yeah, it's
You
basically the same
talk.
thing.
You talk, and people tell you about the stuff they have going on, and they tell you about their lives and what their plans are, and you kind of just, it's kind of like a lot of beauticians and manicurists and people within the beauty industry, they are therapists. They're definitely therapists. I mean, you speak to them very, very vividly and about dreams and wants and desires that you may have and things that you want out of life. So, I mean, I've heard all of this inside of, in my chair with people in my chair. So it was just turning it from, okay, now I'm doing a service to now I'm actively listening to
Yeah.
what those things are. And I'm writing notes and I'm trying to get you to help you to get to those, not just seeing you, every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks to give you a service. And I never, we never really chat again about those things that you want to do, but or coming up with strategic plans around what you want to do, but we're just providing the information.
And it's just when I think about it too, it's like crazy how God can kind of use us like that. Like
Oh
we
yeah,
went this
definitely.
from something so simple like that, you your plan all along is like you're working with your aunt, you're being
Yes,
around it, and then you're working in that field. And little do you know that you're
absolutely.
actually developing an ear for business. You're learning it, beforehand. And then you come back, you get your master's degree, you already know what you're doing. You're doing your true
Yeah,
calling.
absolutely.
And that experience, oh my goodness. Could you tell us about Community Wealth Partners of Greater Cleveland and the impact it has on unserved communities?
Sure. So what we do with community wealth partners is we educate on financial literacy. We educate on some wealth building. We teach, and teach people how to do it. We also there's a youth entrepreneurship component to that because I am an advisor, a business advisor. So what I wanted to do was provide a pipeline and resources for youth so that they won't have to backpedal because I know in life a lot of people don't share the information that is needed, the
Mhm.
resources that may be out there to help you with your business, how to scale and grow your business. They may be doing it, but they may not want to share it. And I really, really want our youth that have businesses and they are entrepreneurs, in the seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th grade, sixth grade. I want them to start off right, you know, and not start off to where they're kind of in quicksand, I like to call it, and they're just slowly sinking and they don't know they're sinking.
Yeah.
Um, and you can do that quickly with a business because what you don't know can definitely hurt you
Hmm.
with a business. So it's all about what you know and how to use what you know to your advantage.
And like you said earlier, I mean, you were pretty much saying like, I wish somebody would have told me this when I was younger,
Oh
financially wise,
yeah,
like or
yeah.
coach me on that. And now
To
it's
tell me to tell me that I need an emergency fund, to
yeah,
tell me that I need to plan for retirement in my teens or in my 20s, um, you know, for the life I want in my 50s and 60s. And that's the first when I speak with students, that's the first question I ask. How long do you guys want to work? And a lot of them say, I'm working for myself. I'm not working for nobody. I said, but you're still working. So how long is it that you're going to work? Are you going to work to your 50, 60, 70, 80? What does that look like? And what type of life will you lead? And they're, oh, I'm going to have a yacht. I'm going to be on the beach. I'm going to do this. I'm like, okay, how you going to get there? And I mean, legally, how you going to get there? And then they're like, oh, no. But I need you to think about that because this is where, you know, these are the conversations that are happening in our homes because they weren't happening in my home, definitely. Um, so I try to start the conversations and then maybe they'll go home and share the conversations a little bit because I have students that, you know, come up to me and they're like, so I'm 16 and I just got a job. So should I be saving for retirement? I'm like, yeah, you can save for retirement right now. You can
yeah,
put some money
start
to the
young.
side. Absolutely. Absolutely you can. And so, you know, they're really inquisitive. And I'm like, just imagine how much you will have if you start saving at 16.
Yeah.
Like, just imagine that. I said, because there's a cost for waiting, there's a cost per year for waiting.
Thinking
So it's
well,
important. Yeah, it's important.
thinking about it myself, I'm like, if I would have started saving when I was 16, or I should say when I was 14, because that's when I actually did start working, and I
Yeah.
started putting back then, I probably could retire right now.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of us could have retired early. We can retire in our 40s, definitely. It takes some grit and it takes being intentional with your debt and trying to just pay everything down, but it's doable. People can retire early. You can retire in your 40s and your 50s, definitely. You don't have to wait to 65 or 70 to retire. And then you have people that retire or that are of retirement age but don't want to retire
No.
or can't retire, you know. So it's just helping with a lot of um resources and information
Yeah.
to help people.
Well, just the topic on retire is I don't really see myself being like doing that because
Hmm.
I don't know. I see it starts to finally catch up to them, and your body starts like, whoa, wait a minute, you've been working all these years, and all of a sudden you follow that routine.
Yes.
I'm not saying I'm gonna work the rest of my life, but I think I'm
Hmm.
gonna stay active at least try to be.
Yeah, as you should, because a lot of people are bored.
Yeah.
They go into retire. I had a friend and she was like, "Oh, girl, I'm gonna retire at 50." I'm like, "Okay." And she retired and she's literally like, "Oh my gosh, like what am I gonna do for the rest of my life?" And I'm like, "Good luck with that." Cause I'm
Yeah.
not retiring. Like, I really want to work until my body kind of just is like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm gonna wait to see what that looks like. I'm not gonna put a number on it. I'm just gonna wait to see what that looks like because you may want to retire early, but then you retiring, you kind of regret it.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of regret it because your body still wants to work.
Mm.
So, I mean, each retirement age is so different for each person. It could be 60, it could be 50, it could be dependent. It's all dependent on you and what you want to do. It really is. It's dependent on the individual.
And right now, since we're on this topic, what is your advice for the individual, the kid that's watching right now? That's
Hmm.
like kind of like I don't know what you guys are talking about. Kind of fill that kid in real quick.
Well, we are talking about retirement planning and planning for the future that you want to live. That's the most descriptive description I can give is you planning for the life you would like to live later. So what does that life live what does that life look like? And then what's incorporated in it? Like, are you in a condo? What kind of car do you have? What type of food are you buying? You need to factor everything in when you are retirement planning because everything is going to matter. You got to kind of factor in inflation as well because you never know what you're going to be paying for things. And you got to kind of just prepare as best as you can for what's coming later. Because if you start, but that's the key. If you start early, if you're young, if you're so young, like my son, he had wanted a car, and he had I purchased him a vehicle because he's in barber college. I have trade babies. We were trade babies, and I actually have two trade babies. My daughter wants to do cosmetology, and my son is in barber college currently.
Okay, they're following you.
They're following my husband too. My husband's a barber.
Okay.
So we just have an entrepreneurship um, family. So my daughter has a cupcake business, and then my son has a clothing line. So it's one of those things where if you want something, you'll have if you start to save for it, you'll have money for it later as well. It all depends on how you break that money up. Like there's a lot of teens that have jobs and they're 16 and they don't pay for nothing. Some pay for a cell phone, maybe some food. We have a lot of DoorDash bandits that like the DoorDash. But they're barely paying any type of bill. So this is the perfect time to incorporate some planning into there where you want a car. Okay, can you start putting money over for the car? Can you start putting some money over for the retirement planning? Even if it's $25, even if it's 50, if it's 100, whatever you can give, that is money that will go a long way because that's $25 that was not previously there. $50 that was not previously there. So it doesn't take much. It just takes reallocation and you thinking about the future you want later. Because that's the one thing we cannot change. We all have to get old.
Yeah.
So we have to prepare. We got to prepare for it because we're all going to age. We can't go. We're not like Benjamin Button. We don't go backwards.
I wish we
I,
know that'd be so
I
nice.
wish, but we can't go backwards. So,
Oh no, in your case, you're 43, but you look like you're still in your 20s.
thank you. I appreciate it.
So keep it
Yes,
up.
I appreciate it. Yes.
But just in case you're not quite understanding what we're talking about, is there's a thing called your credit. And it's
Right.
important. You got to take care of your bills. You want to save and take care of all this stuff because when you want to get those fancy yachts and boats and cars and all that stuff, a lot of
Right.
places, most places, are going to go and see what your credit looks like. And as long as you
Right.
take care of your bills and keep your, everything taken care of, no debt, you'll be all right. While you're saving up, man, that's the way to go. Your credit plays a big factor on everything. So, as we're
Now
touching on it, though,
I have to jump off if possible. I got to go pick my daughter up.
okay,
Thinking about that.
okay, all right. Well, thanks for coming on for a little bit and telling your story.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me. But my daughter was I forgot she's at her friend's house and she called me to get her.
Oh,
Well, no, they're studying. It's study
okay,
time.
okay,
Got to get that studying in.
yeah, that's
Yeah, so
important.
she went to get some studying in, so I have to go grab her. But it was a pleasure being on.
Yes.
If anyone would love to reach out to me, I'm here. Um, Andrea, A Boyd at communitywealthpartners.com.
And this is your host, Chris Baker. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Until next time, peace out.